Joe, what is it that goes in hard and dry, but comes out soft and wet?
No idea.
Gum. Think gum. You think I was going to say penis?
No.
Okay. All right.
Well, why would it come out wet? My hand is like...
What do you call two lesbians in a closet?
Awesome.
I was going to go with liquor cabinet, but
Hey-o.
the judge, let me say, yep, judges accepted awesome for a reason. Hello, everybody. This is Jacques.
Joe.
And welcome to Carnival Personnel. Recording this the day after Halloween.
All Saints Day.
Was how was your Halloween?
It was tepid at best.
Was it?
I liked it. I liked the fact that only 4 people came to my door. One group of which were my son's friends and him. So, yeah, it was a good Halloween for me. You?
It was fantastic. In our town, and I'm a little surprised. I didn't realize our town was an everybody gets a trophy kind of town. And because it was supposed to rain and be windy, they postponed Halloween from Thursday to Friday, which was fine because we were going, to another town to meet friends anyways, which meant our boys didn't miss out on Halloween in our own town because we went the next day. But
so you got 2 Halloweens.
Might be a third coming up because
wait a second. We're talking about you. This is like Halloween for you should be like you don't dress up.
Right, exactly. So the funny thing is, we thought we miss it out in their neighborhood with their friends and stuff like that because we were seeing other people. Halloween night was gorgeous. It was like 70 degrees. It was a little misty.
Kind of like me after watching Beaches.
Yeah, right. Thank you. But it wasn't bad at all. The actual Halloween night, it was fine. It didn't rain. The wind's been pretty windy here, but it was 25 degrees colder. And it's like, nice planning dorks. But then a lot of towns have moved Halloween to Saturdays anyways. I will never not miss Halloween at John's house, our friend and our lawyer friend from Friday night. He lives in a town like by the beach that it's a walk street. He will go through, and this is not an exaggeration, 2,000 plus pieces of candy. And it's a place where, a few blocks away is beautiful Pacific, beaches, all this stuff. It is most crowded on Halloween night, and it's great. Like all the neighbors do up their houses and stuff.
Is it White Privilege Lane?
It is. Well, it is White Privilege Lane in White Privilегeville. But during the Halloween, people from all the surrounding towns, come over there because they know it's the safest place. It's a lot of fun. But it was great. So Halloween, Halloween's big, with our family. It's almost Halloween. And it was great. And the highlight of it is I haven't seen the skit in a couple years, but management brought back into my life and into the boys' life for the first time the great David S. Pumpkins, which unarguably the greatest Tom Hanks acting achievement ever.
Any questions? Yes, several.
I think that skit is just brilliant. And I've heard him interviewed before about it. And he was apprehensive, to say the least. But he was like, I don't even think it was an episode he was hosting.
I can't wait till they do the biopic on David S. Pumpkins. Just to cap off the irony. See, Tom Hanks stars in a lot of biopics.
Is this a local thing or something? No, but that was great. Well, I'm glad that your Halloween and your boy's oldest one, did he do anything?
Worked.
Oh, good. God bless. Hey, the Lord loves a working man.
Right. And don't trust Whitey.
So I don't know. No, well, you know what? I'll bring it up because it's Halloween before we get into the awful. Joe, you only had 4 kids to pass out Halloween candy to. How would you rank your passing the candy out?
Terribly.
You overshot the bag, punched one of the kids.
I shouldn't have taken my wiener out. That was a bad move.
She had it coming.
No, I didn't. I did nothing of the sort. But we have a basket, like one of those picnic basket type things, and it's not a picnic basket anyway. I just hold out the basket and I let the kids serve themselves because I know our street doesn't get a lot of traffic, so I know they're going to be one of 6 kids that night that are going to get our candy. And by the way, my wife sets up the candy, and she's a big no soy, no allergen equals no fun candy. So all the candy, I mean, it tastes okay, it's good, but
Were
it's
you
not
passing out erasers?
No, they're candy. It's like, but it's all allergy free. So I guess it's cool, but at the same time, it's not Reese's. It's not, Hershey. It's not delicious. It's, so I get a lot of spit in my face from kids. Over.
I asked you how you did handing out the candy because,
Oh, I'm sorry. You were going somewhere with this.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy who lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and his, what's the term? What's the term for, piece of shit wife. Apparently, what did somebody say on Twitter? They haven't learned how to human yet.
Something like that. Yeah, I saw the video clip of them handing out candy. And this little kid, I assume little kid, walked up in a very elaborate Minion costume. And,
with the bag out and open.
Yeah, as is tradition to collect the candy.
Yeah.
Walked by the president, and the president was so taken by the novelty of the costume and the size of the costume and the flatness of the head of the costume that he decided to take the large, granted not fun size, an actual regular size Hershey bar, and place it on top of the Minion's head. And so did Melania.
Like, she's like, oh, he must know something I don't.
Oh, this is new. In my country, we put in bag, but
Did he maybe think it was Chef Sessions? I don't know. But yeah, that was, I don't know if that was the highlight or the low light, but when you can't do that, when you can't put candy in a basket for a kid on Halloween, you're fucked up. I don't know if, speaking about fucked up, I don't know if you heard about this. I heard it on sports radio and I followed it up. There's a show called Game Day Live on ESPN, and it's a huge thing in college football. It's been going on. I think the show's been running 20 years, and whatever campus you're on, there's a bunch of kids in the background. And I guess one kid a little while back had a funny sign that said something like, need beer money or, but it was a clever sign. Goes viral. Kid ends up making people start sending tons of money, like enough money where he is like, I should do something with this. And he, pledges, contacts a local children's hospital that he's going to donate $1 million for the beer fund. It's called.
Essentially, it was, I know the story. It was the beer fund. It was basically, I think he took money for some beer, and then the rest, which was about $1 million, he was going to donate to this children's hospital. But then I think that was the end of the story, which was a nice, heartwarming story. And I'm glad that nobody tried to ruin it or spoil anybody's fun, and that we just moved on from it.
No, that's not what happened. Some little hardworking, words in Bernstein. Look, and I don't want to be the fake media. The media is the enemy of the people. But somebody decided, this is a college kid.
This was literally a person in the media being an enemy of a person.
Right. And literally no history between them. Not like, oh, he stole my girlfriend in high school. I'm going to get this fucker. So some local journalist decides, I'm going to go back and read every tweet ever. And I guess that he writes this expose that, sure, he's given $1 million to Children's Hospital, but this piece of shit posted racist things on his Twitter page in high school, which I guess were taken out of context lines from, I don't know if it was Chris Hart or we very often quote Chris Rock.
Like a Kevin Hart or something. Right. I think the story was that his friends were watching a movie at the same time, like a Big Mama's House or something like that. And they were saying some racy lines about from the movie to each other on Twitter.
Going back and forth.
Right. And, the kid was 16 at the time, wasn't exactly media savvy, didn't think, when I'm in college, I'm going to go viral, so maybe I should watch what I say on this very public platform. And he said some, provocative, maybe a white kid from that area should not be saying on social media things.
That can be taken out of context.
Yeah.
I very openly am racist and anti-Semitic and misogynistic and I'm a bad person. I'm an equal opportunity offender and hater.
So when do you take oath of office?
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. It's like, how far back do you have to scroll to find this? Do you?
The easy way to do this, if you're targeting somebody, you can go on the website, the Twitter website, and in the search bar under an advanced search, you can just search keywords in a timeline of a certain user. So you can say the N-word. For anytime this person said the N-word in their timeline, it will most likely pop up if it is said in their timeline. And sure enough. So my guess is that he wasn't exactly reading all of his tweets.
Okay.
I'm sure he was like, did this kid say anything like, I don't know,
Boom,
the N-word?
N-word, right. And then, to bring the happy story to it's and you heard how the conclusion of the story?
I think the guy who did the searching may have gotten a taste of his own medicine. I think that another journalist or other people, I think the public, just said, "Oh, by the way, since we're doxing people."
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's like docs is short for like showing their documents, like outing their names and history and stuff.
Where are your papers?
Exactly. If we're going to be doxing people publicly, let's go into your history, Mr. Journalist. And lo and behold, he said a couple of even worse things. And I forget what the nature of it was. If it was like misogynistic or anti-Semitic, or how, do you know the details?
No, I just know that he's now no longer. I think it was like the Des Moines Iowan or something. It wasn't the Post or the Times,
right.
Or either way, he was trying to make a name for himself by tearing something down. And look, even the guy was a piece of shit racist giving the money. It's like, he gave $1 million to charity. Move on.
Right, exactly. He's not running for, he's not nominated to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. He's a guy.
Pick that stuff up then, but
he's a guy.
So, right, so yeah, kid thought he was doing something not so fast.
Right, yeah, that was a few weeks ago, so I'm glad we got around to it.
But what did happen this week that I thought was awesome, and real journalists, I don't know why real journalists aren't doing this more. The past week, there was one of these people who correct me if I get like his title wrong, but the guy's name is Alex Vindman, who was a deputy director overseeing like the transcription of like presidential phone calls. That was his job. He's part of the military, but that's his job, is making sure that things get transcribed properly. I mean, it's all auto text things, but some things don't get picked up in context and things like that. Other words that, need to be corrected. He had corrected the Ukrainian thing. And when he saw the official, he went to his
the transcript of the call between the president and the United
right.
States and the Ukraine's president phone call. Yeah. The thing that's under scrutiny to maybe impeach the president of the United States.
And so he ended up going to his superiors and saying, hey, these things weren't in the official transcript that were in the phone call that are pertinent to this transcript. We need to correct it. And
like what kinds of things?
Like the fact that he
he did mention the Biden.
He mentioned the Bidens, the company that Hunter Biden was sitting on. But and then he's also the ones that, said, yeah, when he went back to fix it, that's when it had been moved to the secured,
server.
The server. This guy testified, for this. And of course, he's a 20-year career military guy. He's been awarded the Purple Heart. He's been awarded. Basically, I don't know how you or I wouldn't have the physical strength to put the military jacket on that he wore and to testify because of the medals that would have weighed you and I down. I don't think you could wear a 30-pound jacket with these medals. I mean, a bona fide, war vet, war hero, Purple Heart guy, which the right has decided, well, his parents were immigrants, so what country is he really working for? He's a real piece of shit. Just days of tearing this guy apart. And I guess Nicole Wallace has had it. And there was a clip, her on MSNBC showing three people on one of those panels
on Fox News,
just shitting on the guy. And then, basically questioning his basically
His
questioning
loyalty,
everything.
yeah.
And then they were like, we're questioning his background. Like, how was he even vetted to be in the room? And she's like, listen, you chicken shit. He was, vetted, I forget it. It's all over, either Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Nicole Wallish, chicken shit. And she calls him out for being chicken shit and says, yeah, he passed every background check. Unlike, the president's children who are, privy to all this classified thing, but flat out, gloves off. Yeah, you people are lying pieces of shit. And I don't know why, more people don't come out and say, you know what, you can have your opinion. You can be on this side of the aisle, or that side. But when you do nothing except go out of your way of villainizing a war vet, a war hero, a decorated soldier, because he is doing again, all these people, don't work for the president of the United States. They work for the people. His loyalty is to, his oath to do his job, not to. Anyways. So I just thought, if you could find that, it's worth it. Everybody who posted, it's like, here's a 40-second clip.
Astounding, and some people might call that espionage.
Except those people aren't chicken shit like the three of you, and they know that he passed a background check that the president's daughter and son-in-law didn't.
Yeah, good for her. And I would like to see more of that. I'd like to see more people in the mainstream media calling out the chicken shitness the whole week.
You like that production, by the way?
I did, Joe. Boom, right there.
Yeah, like luckily we have this state-of-the-art laptop here with the
sound booth.
Yes,
the editors back in a back room.
Right. I mean, they
grinding this out.
The production team back there. They're
Second
good at prepping.
none.
Yeah, they're there. They have all the clips ready to go. It's not like me scrambling on my phone.
No,
at the last second trying to find the clip.
Stretch out.
Yeah, imagine me imagine if I had to hold up the phone, like
so it's a red balloon.
The speaker of my phone up to the microphone. Can you believe it?
Well, way back, when we started podcasting, was it 73, 74 when we started this little thing?
Yeah.
We used to have to do that stuff. Right.
Yeah.
No, it was crazy. But speaking of crazy, so what I love is, and finally somebody, yes, I'm talking about Fox News again. Somebody finally did go on Fox News and say, and I'm surprised that he wasn't shot on the spot or they had to cut to commercial, but he was pointing out, it's like, hey, everything that the GOP is complaining about the investigation moving forward, the impeachment moving forward, these rules were signed into law by John Boehner when they were brought forward by a Republican House and Senate. The Democrats aren't doing anything except following the rules that they themselves.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, but this week it's got into a fever pitch because now it's gone the next step. Now it's officially Nancy Pelosi has taken it to the next step, taken it to the floor for a vote, and
taken it to the limit one more time.
I'm moving on because I can't top that. The only, and this is, and any other administration, this would have made news. The New York State coroner has come out, or medical examiner for New York City has come out and said, yeah, Jeffrey Epstein was murdered.
No.
No. So I shouldn't get my news from my 9-year-old.
He's not the New York State. He's a former Manhattan coroner, Michael Baden. I like this guy. I used to watch. I forget what the name of the series was on HBO in the 90s, but they would do autopsies, and it was high-profile autopsies or murder cases or whatever, and then he would be the guy that they would use to consult, and he would give his testimonials on these cases that he would worked on. And he was always very informative and entertaining, and just like a no-nonsense kind of guy, and well-respected. A well-respected forensic pathologist or coroner. And so what had happened...
Like Quincy.
Yeah, exactly. It was murder! So what had happened was that Jeff Epstein's brother hired Michael Baden to further investigate the possibility and to contradict, maybe find some discrepancies or just get a second pair of eyes on what the state's coroner had said about Jeffrey Epstein's so quote unquote suicide, because there were lots of rumors floating around that, hey, 2 of the security cameras around his cell weren't working at the time, and 2 of the guards that were supposed to be watching him were asleep at the same time when he was committed suicide. Right. So
a lot of work goes into making a coincidence happen.
So from what little, I guess, evidence or facts that were made available to Michael Baden, he could immediately determine that the neck breaks that were on Jeffrey Epstein were not consistent with a suicide in his 50 years of criminal pathology, but more consistent with a homicide.
Wow.
And but he went on Fox News and said this.
Now, I think we both agree. I think the world is probably a better place without a Jeffrey Epstein in it. It just, who did it?
Yeah, and right.
And why?
Exactly. And it's sort of like, I think this was the one thing in the past year that brought both sides together, is that we all, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Wiccan, the Christian Jew, no, you name it, we all could agree that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered and not committed suicide, or so the New York State coroner would have us believe.
Yeah, so I think this is just something that's going to be one of those great docudramas in like 20 years, and maybe we'll find out.
And sadly, maybe it will take 20 years for us to, because it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, we all kind of know that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered, but are we really going to get any further than with this?
And it's fascinating, like, who would want him dead? And the answer is everybody, for different reasons. But we know the people who want the people who want him dead, who have tons of money, who can make a coincidence like this happen inside a maximum security prison. Mm-hmm. That list isn't a short list.
Yeah, and they could probably squash this investigation with the money and influence that they used to murder Jeffrey Epstein.
They used to, but, now things like this guy and stuff like that, and who can look at the medical records, even the medical records in the body. But anyways, I just thought it was
look at the records, determine it was homicide.
You can make it. You're a gift. You are a gift.
Yeah.
So, I'm not really jumping ahead to sports, but just really briefly, World Series, the Montreal Expos, finally,
Congrats.
get their, what state is the world champion team from? What state do they represent? I forget.
Trick question.
I forget.
All I know is they have complete voting rights, those citizens.
Yeah, no, and we're proud. They're proud to be Americans, where at least they know they're free.
And their voice can be heard.
Yep.
And they're not unfairly segregated by race.
No. One of those poor white folks in downtown Washington, D.C.
So we're talking about the Washington Nationals one. A very exciting Game 7.
Exciting series.
Yeah.
Well, is there an unexciting 7-game series?
Right. Well,
shut up.
But this is I just want to make a note that I honestly I wasn't keeping up with it, so I didn't realize until Game 7 that no home team had won a game in this series.
I don't know,
and they continue that into Game 7.
It never happened in baseball. I don't know if in any other pro sport that is 7-game series, the road team won every game.
And another side note is that Fox was doing some promotion with Chevy about people could pick brackets at the beginning of the playoffs, and they were still at Game 7, according to Joe Buck, who is an authority, 400 live brackets.
Wow.
I'm like, what? How do you not choose, okay, the Nats have to win one game at home, or something, like, why? 400 non-busted brackets.
It's like one of those things. It's like, how many people play the lottery in their numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Because statistically, there's no less of a chance in those numbers come up in that order than any other sequential numbers.
Yeah, that's just like an odd coincidence. Yeah, it's like getting a royal flush or something.
Right. So what the highlight for some people, and we might talk about it in sports, was a 7-game series. We'll call it Boob Fest 2019. Mm-hmm. You followed that, I take it.
Now you said Boob Fest, right?
boobs. Should I say?
Yeah, right. Well,
Plural.
I thought you also.
Two boobs. That's what he takes.
I thought you could have said Boo Fest because that's another thing.
That is another thing.
But Booba Fest was the two Instagram models who somehow during game 6 or game 5?
Game 5.
Yeah, they were shown behind. I think it was home plate.
Yep, 2 rows back.
Yeah, they flashed their bare breasts for Instagram awareness. No, I'm sorry, breast cancer awareness.
Now, I'm not the kind of guy who wants to exploit women for the betterment of sports, but the first few games of this World Series, lowest rated World Series. Let me check my notes. Ever,
Worst game 3 ever.
And so now it's like, I would really like to see if the numbers went up after that. And here's my question, my legit question to you. Would you rather see that or some, the people who buy those great tickets just so they can hold up their John 3:16 signs?
Thankfully, because of the high ticket prices nowadays, you don't get those idiots anymore.
Right. No.
It's all white people now. All white. And by the way, the models were
Fun
white.
fact. Yep.
Yeah.
But Joe,
and very white because even whiter because they couldn't tan.
Yeah.
Under there, so you could see the on account.
Well, that's why a tanned woman and a Thanksgiving turkey have in common. The white meat is the best part. Anyways, shut up. I'll show myself out.
Right.
now.
Did I catch a 9er in there?
But the best part is apparently Tom Hanks or David S. Tompkins was wrong.
David S. Pumpkins.
Pumpkins, thank you. Pumpkins was wrong. There is crying in baseball.
Why?
So game 5, at first it was the White House had stated that the president was asked to throw out the first pitch with the Washington Nationals from the state of the District of Columbia said, no, we never asked him to throw out the first pitch. So he's in one of the boxes, with his minions, not the ones that he put the Hershey bar on. And at one point of the game, they showed the military people who were there, the service people that they had brought out, everybody standing and cheering, and then a shot of Bloda standing in the box. And he's smiling, and the first lady is smiling, and they're waving. And I'm trying to think of anything outside of a Patriots Super Bowl victory or him being marched out of the White House in handcuffs would make me happier. But I'm quite sure he has supporters and fans there, but the overwhelming boos and then the chance of lock him up. And when he realized it, and the national TV cut away kind of quickly, but we can debate it here. And I'll debate it with anybody and tell you wrong and then kick you in the
nuts.
nuts.
You are a master debater, I will say.
I'm a cunning linguist. But I seriously love the fact he cried. He 100% turned away, bottom lip quivering. He cried. It was great when he realized those weren't
Donald.
Yeah.
Donald.
He's a professional. Now you saw the clip, and you're not 100% sure he was a quivering.
A sack of shit. I can't tell. It's that Mona Lisa reverse. Is he crying? Is he not crying? Because, he definitely has a dour look on his face, and it's zoomed in. Because they didn't, have the HD technology. They didn't have the 4K on this exact video, but one could argue that he was crying, and it's one of those things where you can choose to believe it's open to interpretation, but there's no evidence to say that he wasn't crying.
Thank you. And speaking of statehood. It's great because he's now Florida man, and I can't think of when you think of the state of Florida outside of Disneyland and the Miami Dolphins. You just think of
just awful headlines,
armpit.
Yeah. If you do yourself a favor, if you're on social media, and by now you probably know the term Florida man, but follow Florida man on any sort of Twitter or Facebook or whatever. And I think you can look up, there might even be a website, but every day, like every date in like, maybe the past 10 years, there's a Florida man headline, like news story. Oh no, like every date in the calendar year. So you can just put in December 2nd. There's a Florida man headline for a December 2nd in some sort of year that has like a ridiculous thing, like Florida man marries gator or something like
right,
that.
Right. Remarries Gator, because they got divorced,
Right,
a few years back. Yeah, no, but it's great. And as far as I'm concerned, Florida's shaped like a penis, and so I guess he fits
A limp
right
one,
in.
by the way.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think we have a self-indulgent thing unless you wanted to read the Gettysburg Address as Elf.
No, but a couple of quick headlines that we didn't touch on yet.
Sure, please.
Beto O'Rourke is out.
Oh,
Yep. As of Friday night, he's out, and he's not going to run for Senate. So I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see him on Dancing with the Stars next season.
Shut up.
Elizabeth Warren announced her Medicare for All plan, which was pretty much saying, yeah, we're going to tax the rich and, maybe put some laws in place.
Are you going to have to move some money around and kind of do some financial shenanigans to umbrella? You okay?
Yeah. Did you see AOC on Chris Cuomo's show, basically kind of laying out like the Medicare for All funding? It's like long and the short of it, it's a 2-minute clip, but she basically says like, look, nobody's ever crying poor when it comes to funding a tax break for the poor, or a tax break for the rich, rather, or defense spending. But whenever it comes down to Medicare for all, or health care, or any sort of social program, it's like, well, we can't find the money. We can't find the money. Well, actually, yeah, we can find the money, and we just have to take the money that's being spent here and put it over here.
And that's the same thing. It's like, it's cliche, and it's 100-year-old trope, and everybody's heard it 1,000 times over. When Clinton was in the White House, the deficit is out of control, and we have to get it under control, He balanced the budget, had a surplus, and George Bush instantly blew the surplus. And that doesn't include the off-the-book wars. The Iraq war was not part of the budget. It's been an off-the-book thing. And one of the first things in office that he did is give the rich a tax break, which, lo and behold, everybody who was screaming, the deficit, were silent. And Obama comes in, balanced the budget. Actually, I kind of don't know why he did, but I get it to some extent. He ended up putting the war on the books, you know what I mean? And still balanced the budget, had a surplus. And that's the same thing. We gave the rich another tax break. And when people say exactly that, I'm glad that somebody who has some street cred, who is putting it in plain and simple terms, is out there. And people are like, oh, you can't have somebody too far to the left. It's going to alienate the people in the middle. I hope somebody can explain, basically what I just saw upstairs when I walked into your house tonight, and you had the display of EpiPens. There's no reason that something like that isn't paid for,
or costs $600.
Right. No, so seriously, I walked in Joe's, and we have the EpiPens too for, one of our kids that Jesus obviously hates, and it's ridiculous. They last for 2 years, but there's a year expiration date, so that you can't send the kids to school. You have to have 2. The school won't let you send them with 1. They have to have 2. All this thing. But yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous that things like, we hear the story, we don't talk about it too much, like just recently, I forget where it was. I think it was in New Jersey. Kids aren't going to be allowed to go on field trips who have a deficit in their school lunch and stuff like that. It's like, really? So good. Good for AOC, good for Warren. Bernie has his, plan out there. Has he ever simplified and said this is where the money's going to come from, or is that?
Was it Bernie? I don't know. I'm sure it's just taxing the rich. And,
Right.
yeah.
But
Honestly,
good.
it's really about legislating the pharmaceutical companies, and you have to put more regulation in place. No, you can't regulate. That's anti-American.
So I live in Detroit. Windsor, Ontario is truly a 5-mile ride across a bridge, and I can get the exact same medication for 1/10. And Canada isn't bankrupt yet, but somehow.
Yeah, I know people are stupid in this country, and I hate it, and I want to die.
Well,
And luckily, because of the health care that I get in this country, I will
just
die
might.
faster. Yeah, as I eat this nacho chip and you eat Danish, and we just sit here hearing ourselves getting fatter.
So was there other headlines that I missed? Did you want to go into Chop and Steal?
There's a sale at Penny's. No, but speaking of sales at Penny's, why don't you listen to this sale of a defunct sponsor of the week?
Ghostbusters! It's the real Ghostbusters Firehouse playset.
Figment, our firehouse is haunted. No way. Oh no, I've been gooped. Goes to the stadium.
The real Ghostbusters, each sold separately, assembly required.
Hey buddy, see anything weird? It's Tombstone Tackle. Don't lose your head. Take a hike. There's a policeman. Oh no, it's ex-cop. I can't believe my eyes. Whoa, we're not scared.
Okay, so we don't even have to talk about baseball because we covered it, unless we want to talk about more boobs in baseball. And I don't mean people doing dumb things. I mean more people flashing behind home plate. I'm in.
Remember the woman who flashed her boobs at the hockey game?
Yes.
Was it the same
Let
girl?
me have a moment. No. And it's funny when you said Instagram models. It's like, I haven't done it yet, and I keep wanting to put on like my LinkedIn page at the top of the page, Instagram influencer. I think I should make a business card and just start telling people I'm an Instagram influencer. Is there any kind of checks and balances, or is there any kind of legislation board that comes out and says, wait, you have 3 followers and 2 of them are your other dummy accounts?
No, there's no fact checking or any checking for that matter.
So in summary, more boobs could help baseball.
Yep. What basically means women should be playing baseball. I agree.
Sure.
No, you.
Sure. State of California has come forward, and I think it's all through the NCAA, because California had passed the state law saying that players are going to be able to make money on their image and their likeness.
Yeah, and then it is. I think it's a nationwide thing, but there's a Minnesota. Isn't there like a Minnesota like representative that basically came out and said, "I'm going to put in legislation that says that if kids are going to be making money off their images, then they should be not getting scholarships."
Well, and of course, it's not an easy subject. However, like, I talked about, I watched that, what was it, like Saturday's Heroes or Gridiron Great, some 1938 movie that tackled the fact that,
Tackled.
that college football was making, almost $40 million a year, and everybody's getting rich except the players. And here it is 80 years later, it's the same problem. And so California, as is the case in a lot of things, we're ahead of the curve and says, yeah, we're going to let the players in this state profit off it. And I think the NCAA ended up realizing Santa Monica Community College is about to have a better football program than Ohio State or Texas A&M, because all the kids are going to want to go play there. And it's not saying, and I think it should get there at one point, that college, I heard Mitt Romney talk about this, got to make sure that, it's not going to be a situation where a couple kids on the team are going to be driving Porsches and other kids are going to, be struggling to get bus fare to practice. What they're saying and what this started is like, if EA Sports, because EA Sports had a very popular college football game, and they used the players and their names on the back of the jersey, their touchdown dances, their special moves and whatever, and weren't paying the players at all. And then they decided, oh, okay, well, we'll just, go with a no-name player, not put the names on the jersey, but do the same moves and all this stuff. And then that didn't fly, got shut down. So it's not saying the schools have to pay or the NCAA. It's not saying that the NCAA has to reach in their pockets and pay these kids. It's just if the kids want to make money off their name. Like, we talked about the kids who traded their team jersey, their own paraphernalia for free tattoos, and then got sanctioned by the NCAA and lost, all this stuff. I mean, I'm glad that it's finally moving forward. It's going to take a while to come up with a fair thing. And no, the kids who are on the cross country track teams for Michigan State aren't having 110,000 people come to the stadium and watch them, but they are putting in just as much work and stuff. So there's got to be some kind of little
Morning
something
after.
for the effort, something for the effort. On your deathbed, there's not going to be any money in it, but on your deathbed, you still achieve total consciousness. So I have that going for me, which is nice. so that.
By the way, speaking of Bill Murray, did you hear that he applied for a job at P.F. Chang's?
in the
got
airport.
it?
In the airport.
And apparently got it.
Oh, when's his shift starting? If anyone of his stature was going to sign up for a job at P.F. Chang's and actually show up for a shift, it'd be Bill Murray.
Or Andy Kaufman.
Or, yeah, okay. We don't know that Andy Kaufman. Do you know that he's not working at a P.F. Chang's right now?
Touche.
Let's find out. So, wrapping up the sports thing. So, the San Francisco 49ers are 8-0, led by Jimmy Garoppolo, the only other undefeated team. Well, as this post, I'm hoping the Patriots are still undefeated, but as of right now, as of the recording, the only two undefeated teams are the Patriots and the 49ers. And it started the whole bullshit this week. Did the Patriots make a mistake on not keeping Garoppolo? And the answer is no. Like, they traded Jimmy Garoppolo. They went on to win the Super Bowl that season. Jimmy Garoppolo plays 12 more years, or even, if he played 12 years with Belichick, he probably would have won one. And I'm going to say probably. The best team in football from 2005 to 2014, do you know the best team in football in those 9 years?
No.
The best regular season team, the best playoff team statistic-wise. Who won the most amount of games, the most amount of regular season games? The Patriots. The most amount of playoff games in that time? The Patriots. 0 Super Bowls. You know what I mean? They had an undefeated season in there. They made it to 2 Super Bowls. So to say that Jimmy Garoppolo would have been great under Belichick, probably. But as soon as they made that trade and the Patriots went on to make it to the Super Bowl, it's like, well, be happy. You weren't gonna. You might not have won one, and then they make it to the Super Bowl the next year. They didn't win it. Brady throws 502 yards. Is Jimmy Garoppolo going to have led you to 2 Super Bowls in a row? Maybe, but you wouldn't know. And then last year. Yeah. So it's like, you know what? You've been to 3 Super Bowls in a row since you got rid of him. He was injured for a year. I hope he has a great career. Maybe he would have flourished under, Belichick, but you can't say at this point it was a mistake. You can say it was a mistake to not get more for him.
Right.
But anyways, that's been the big thing, this weekend. If the Patriots win this weekend, Sunday Night Football against the Ravens, and I think you had the Ravens winning. I think
it's over here.
You had the Ravens winning a close one. I want to say it's like you had them like 23-17 or something like that.
He had 21-17.
21-17, and I had it 38-17.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand by the Patriots winning their offense. I don't think that. I'll say the Patriots win 24-17. I'd say 24-7. No, I'd say 2 scores. I'd say 27-17 is what it's going to be. But either way, they have a bye week. Brings us to we're at the midway point.
Yep.
Quickly, the report card is pretty simple. A+ for the defense. Probably a B- for special teams on one hand. On the defensive side of the ball on special teams, on kick kickoffs, kick coverage. They've caused some fumbles, had a couple touchdowns on picking up fumbles on punts and running them in. Their kicking game is not this. So all the people who were like, Gostkowski missed an extra point. Run him out of town. Gostkowski missed a 48-yarder in the rain. Run him out of town. And now that he's gone, and we've gone through 2 kickers since then, and the last game, the first extra point, the guy shanked. The second one, I would slap either one of your children if they kicked it as poorly. It was something like, out of a bad football movie about XFL scrub players who just
laces out.
It's so bad. It's so, special teams, the offense the same. Offense is a solid C+, B-. Honestly, I give Brady a solid B+, A-, but truly, and like you said, Mr. Sourpuss, which is funny because, last few years, it's like Bill is a curmudgeon in the post game and Tom Brady is Mr. Sunshine. And this year, because Bill prides himself on the defense and he has a historically paced defense, like when they eked out a win against Buffalo 16-13 or something like that, Bill was really fucking happy, and Brady could not have, like, dude, you
can see those steam lines coming from his head.
Look, they spent last year's first-round draft pick. They had 2 first-round draft picks last year, one on a running back, one on offensive lineman. They were trying to give him more weapons. This year, their first-round draft pick was on a wide receiver. But just like last year, Sony Michel was hurt. Akeem Harry, hasn't played yet because he got hurt in training camp. When Antonio Brown was available, they picked him up. They went out and traded. They're trying to get him players. It's not his fault that Jeff Gordon can't be trusted. It's not his fault that the first round draft pick gets hurt. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, stop being a little bitch. They're trying to surround you with a better offensive line and better weapons. They're using their draft capital on this side of the ball. Don't be a little prick.
Make some lemonade, why don't you?
Right. But I do get it. The fact that you look at, nobody in football puts Julian Edelman in a top 20 wide receiver. It's like, yeah, but he has the most catches every year for the last 5 years. You got him, you got White. So I give the offense a B-. I give Brady an A+. I give the offensive line, a solid C-. So, we're 8-0. We're trying to find, granted the next 4 weeks are the 4 toughest games of the schedule. So if they come out 2-2, 3-1, it's like, yeah, the defense is legit and they, have 8 games to figure it out. But anyways, enough about sport. Let's get into what, our friend Steve and his lovely wife, tune in for, and that's your video game talk, Joe. First of all, what have we played this week?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing, honey.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. It's nothing struck me yet. I think because I just don't care anymore. I just stopped caring about everything. I'm having bad thoughts, but I guess
is my laughing about your
suicidal tendencies? It's fine. It washes off me like a water off a duck's back. So, but. Maybe I'll cheer myself up later when I get Luigi's Mansion 3, which has come out this week for the Nintendo Switch. I like Luigi's Mansion 1, and the sequel I own for the 3DS. That was fun. I didn't beat that. I did beat Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube. Who remembers the GameCube? I do.
You do.
Yep. And that's all that matters on this podcast. So while I was babbling, Jacques pulled a game off my PlayStation 2.
We'll get to that. I want to talk about Luigi's Mansion. This is the 3rd installment.
Yes.
Is it a continued storyline, or is it just?
It's no. I think it's a new adventure. They seem to have a theme in these types of games with Luigi and Mario, where if one has to rescue the other, or Princess Peach or something, like they get like a weird invitation to go to like a hotel. And it's like this 100-story hotel kind of thing or whatever. And it's Luigi and Peach and Mario and maybe Toad, I don't know. and they get kidnapped, and except for Luigi, and Luigi has to go find them, and it's kind of a continuation of the story. It's essentially Ghostbusters. Luigi's Mansion, if you've ever seen it, he wears this thing called the Poltergust 3000, developed by Professor Egad, and it's a fun little storyline. There are in the original video game, there are all these boos, the ghost things in Mario World that inhabit this mansion, and you have to suck them up. And there are also like these other specialty ghosts that you have to, suck with these with the Poltergust 3000, this vacuum cleaner essentially, and then you put it through this little processor, and then it puts them into a painting, and then you fill your gallery with the paintings of all these deceased people, whether they be babies or old ladies or whatever. Anyways, it's a fun story. This is the same. It's more of the same. But then there's also like multiplayer online, which is cool, I guess. But Nintendo's not known for their stellar online capabilities. So, but
I'm guessing that the way things have changed via Overwatch, via Fortnite, that it's kind of probably important to stay relevant to have that aspect. Yes, no?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Splatoon is their big
right.
online multiplayer game that's in that same fashion of Overwatch and Fortnite. But again, like just the connectivity issues, just the ability of like trying to find. It's a long story about like it's a tired story.
I got time.
No, I don't have the time.
Okay,
no. I have to finish this nacho. But I mean, long story short. Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming out, and I'll probably buy it before Christmas, and I'll play it, and then I'll be sad after, and then during, and before, and always. God damn it!
Who was Luigi's love interest? Is Peach Mario's?
Kind of a confirmed bachelor, that Luigi, and not a gay guy. It just he's like
he's a 70s porn mustache.
Yeah,
bachelor.
He's just kind of doing his own thing. I mean, I guess Daisy. She's a character that is in those Mario like tennis games, you know what I mean? Yeah. But no.
Rosalina. Who was Rosalina?
Rosalina, she was in Super Mario Galaxy. She like oversaw the star, the little star creatures. I don't know. She's another princess.
And is she related to anybody?
I think.
Is her and Peach sisters, cousins?
I don't know, but I do think that I'm bored with this topic.
Then let's get on to the review. It's
Please.
on the PlayStation 2.
It's on the PlayStation 2, and I'm going to say it's a C game because it's not... I don't think it's Castlevania, and it's not Crazy Taxi. What is the other C game that I have that's for the... Oh, is it Crash Bandicoot?
It is.
Oh, okay, great. Crash Bandicoot. The Wrath of Cortex. I don't know if I've played this particular Crash game. I go to thrift stores every now and then. I find these games and I buy them with the intention of playing them in my free time, but I squander my time and my money. So it's kind of a twofer there. I buy it, I put it on my shelf, and then I sometimes don't get around to it. Crash Bandicoot, though, it was kind of like supposedly maybe like the Sonic the Hedgehog of the Sony PlayStation. It started on the original Sony PlayStation. It was a 3D platformer, kind of linear. Like you had like this path, and the gameplay was weird because it would start off where you're following Crash Bandicoot from behind going forward. So the perspective was kind of odd for platforming. But then it would go to a traditional side-scrolling platformer, and you're bouncing around trying to collect items. And I'm already bored with my own synopsis of Crash Bandicoot.
Have you played it?
I've not played this, Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex. At least I don't remember playing it. I might have popped it in for like 15 minutes and go, oh, yeah, it's a nice little Crash Bandicoot game, and then stopped.
If you didn't own this piece of...
I would be a much better person.
How much richer would you be?
I would probably have an additional $6 in my pocket.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, $4.99
Yeah.
plus shipping. So good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
You know, have we pulled off a diamond in the rough, like a game that you thought was like $4? It turned out to be like $8.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've
Had
had
a
a
couple
couple
of
of.
those?
I think we've had a couple of NES games like that. Yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah, don't worry about it. My retirement is sound. Don't worry. I made wise investments. I'm not just a fool that is soon parted with his money.
yeah. I thought you sunk all your money into Back to the Future T-shirts.
No, that was my wife.
Okay, your wife. What have you watched this week?
That's a good question. You circle back to me because I honestly
I've watched nothing.
Yeah.
Like with the 2 days of trick or treating and stuff like that. You know, the Patriots. You know, played. You know, they were the Monday night game, so it was. So you know that was. Which is great. We didn't even talk about that. It was just great to see the Patriots break the soul of another team. Baker Mayfield has not recovered well since being. Anyways, we're done with Patriots.
Yeah. What the hell? Fuck.
But yeah, it was. It was one of those weeks with Halloween and getting costumes ready, and all that stuff.
living life.
We went to a haunted house. I think we went to it after we were here. Did I talk about my little guy went out, the little one, well, he's 9, as Georgie from It, which I haven't seen and he hasn't seen.
Yeah, we mentioned it last week.
Yeah. What is wrong with us that we're letting him do that? But I literally watched like half an episode of the last time. No, I watched the pilot episode of Batwoman. I did.
Oh.
Management and I watched the pilot. It's good. It's a CW show.
Yeah.
Like it.
I saw a scene from Batwoman a couple of weeks ago, and it was like an elevator kind of scene, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's a CW show.
And it's like in Batman, in the video games, and for about 20 years, they haven't redeveloped his character, but some of the supporting characters, like Lucius Fox, played by Morgan Freeman in the movies, the guy who helps make all his gadgets and this like this, and Batwoman. Batman's been gone for 3 years. People don't know if he abandoned the city, if he's dead. For somehow Lucius Fox is gone, and his son is kind of overseeing the empty wing of Wayne Tower, and turns out to be, and Batwoman is his first cousin and his only living relative. Yada yada yada, and the character who's Lucius Fox's son is very much like the smart black assistant on. Trying to think on Arrow, who it's like yeah, no, because you want to go do laundry and have Sam come in here. but it's one of those things where it's like, all right, this is like the 9th DC CW show, and like some of these character tropes are kind of
they're starting to meld into each other.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're kind of just part this guy from this and this guy from this, and the same thing like we've talked about. I love Arrow. I love the Arrow show, but it's like, okay, you can't put Batman on the CW universe of DC for different reasons. So you're going to take a lot of the Bruce Wayne Batman story and incorporate them into the Arrow story, and that's what you're doing. Kind of, you're trying to force all these, Gotham characters. Well, I'm for it. I'm not saying it's not great.
Right.
It's like trying to shoot holes in the Patriots 8-0 season so far.
Here we go.
But yeah. So that's all I've watched. I've only had time to watch that. But
what have I been watching? Like I don't think I went back to try to finish the Paul Lynde Halloween special this week.
Did you watch the feminine hygiene videos from the 70s that I told you about?
I did have that on my to-do list.
Oh, you watched Tommy Boy?
I did watch Tommy Boy because a couple of things. There are a couple of viral videos going around of people impersonating Matt Foley, young and old. I saw a couple of young...
I'm going to have to ask you, Dad, to shut your trap.
There was one where they had a little kid doing Matt Foley, and really well, I thought. Cute, well enough for like a 5-year-old, wearing like the padded fatness under his shirt and doing the lines. And then You over there, what do you want to be? And then the dad from off camera goes, I want to be a writer. Well, Lottie freaking da. And then he raises his eyeglasses up and down. He's like, I can't see so good. Is that Bill Shakespeare over there? I got to show you the video afterwards because that's like the killer line. But then Chris Farley was honored again in another viral video by like another little kid who dressed up like him for Halloween. And it made it to David Spade's Instagram page, and on his show, Lights Out, that nightly Comedy Central show, he actually does like a Skype interview with the kid, and it's like, all right, let's do a couple of lines, and he's like, what's your phone number? And like the kid's like not doing the line, and the mom's like, come on, you're not going to get your candy. It's like, oh, we said the same thing to Chris.
But with Chris, he meant cocaine and candy. Sorry, I'll show myself out again.
Yeah, shit balls. Yeah, so I've been watching.
But you watched Tommy Boy for another reason.
Oh, right.
Right.
Because of those videos, and I showed it to my younger son, and I've shown him the like other SNL skits with Chris Farley because I'm a good dad.
Good dad. Yeah.
Well, not really.
And a good person.
I'm impersonating one.
Yes.
That's my impersonation of being a good father.
How about him?
And then I said to him, wait, did you even see Tommy Boy? And he goes, I don't know what that is. And so when I came to, I said, we have to immediately watch Tommy Boy, which we literally did. We stopped everything we were doing, which was coincidentally nothing. And we put on Tommy Boy right before you arrived. We finished another classic viewing of a classic movie. And then Connor came back from work like right after, Big Tommy died in the movie. So he missed the sad part. And then we got right to the good stuff. Just one classic lines, one after
Put
another.
my head up and butcher's ass, but I...
No, wait. You have derailed.
Shut up, Richard!
Come on. What is this? This is a little coat? Fat guy.
Don't do it, dickhead.
Fat guy in a little coat.
Take it off, dickhead.
Fat guy in a little coat. Fat guy in a little coat.
Richard, what happened to us?
And that's when I blow it.
You're sick. Let's see if we can turn the grill off.
Tommy like wingy. Why don't we just do that? We should just do a whole...
Can we just talk Tommy more? How come we haven't done...
Because we're focusing on fucking Donald Trump getting booed at a fucking
But
game.
that was great. That wasn't Tommy Boy. It might have been Tommy Boy. No, but Tommy Boy is something we haven't done a sideshow. Oh, by the way, we haven't done a sideshow in a bit. Our friend Biff had made a great suggestion. How come we haven't done our ranking of late night talk shows and hosts?
I don't watch a lot of late night.
But our favorites, we don't have to watch everyone now because there's 1,000.
Number
now.
1, Letterman.
Letterman. Yeah.
Number 2,
Conan O'Brien.
Number 3, Johnny Carson.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Jon Stewart would probably make my list.
Yeah. Okay, Jon Stewart. Yeah, Carson's lower. He's down there. He's in my top 5.
Yeah, no, it's just, yeah, but maybe at one point I thought it was a good suggestion.
No, I like it. It's got a beat and I can dance to it.
So you got a parenting tip, my friend.
I would say if you're going to help your son dress up as Bob Ross for Halloween and he's 13, make sure you get the beard right. Make sure you get make sure that the beard that comes with the costume has first of all fits their face, because apparently it was...
Have you tried Staples?
I would never do such a thing to harm an animal. The guy had like the worst delivery. Brush him off. You want to save somebody? Save yourself. By the way, connection between Scrooged and our favorite movie, The Jerk. Do you know what the connection is?
Both awesome.
And they both star or have starred Mabel King.
Oh.
The woman, the mother from Naven's mother, and also the grandmother in Scrooge, like the right.
They can call the A and P. It's in the dictionary, right there under A,
Right.
and then P. They're big girls, very big girls. Thank you. Okay, I didn't think I could like Scrooge more. But Bob Ross, the beard wasn't perfect. The fro wasn't froey enough.
I was going somewhere with the parenting tip. Actually, I wasn't. I had no parenting.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
if you're going to help him with this
if you're going to
costume.
help him with the costume, make sure that you do it not 5 minutes before he's supposed to meet his friends.
Probably a good idea.
You know, like maybe take an extra 10 minutes, 15, 20, even go so far as 30 minutes to make sure that the beard fits and, test it out, give it a test run, give yourself time to improvise some sort of attachment device to the beard so that he doesn't look stupid.
Did he not get candy?
He got candy. Okay. I mean, and by he, I meant I.
Well, that's my parenting tip. So, again, you have a child that obviously is Jesus' punching bag, as is ours, and can't eat all the candy he gets. That doesn't mean you don't get your ass out there and you get every goddamn piece of candy you can. It's not all about you, you little prick. My son knows my parenting tip is like, all you do is say, thank you. You don't say, does this have nuts in it? Does this come with a side of fun? Because I don't want you to put that in my bag.
Is this a cage-free Snickers?
Right, exactly. So get back out there, get all the candy, and stop being such a little whiner. And can't you be allergic to, let's say, $100,000 bars, because those are my favorite.
You mean 100 grand?
That's what I said. But I did on the way home. I pulled a Beverly Goldberg as we were driving home because there's a hospital at the end of our street. I pulled up towards the emergency room, and the boy's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We got to X-ray your candy." And I thought, oh, that's pretty funny. There's probably people who are dying. I'm gonna,
They're not in on your fun little sketch.
Right. I thought they'd come out with a whole gurney and like put the candy on your stat. But
Speaking of the Goldbergs, this year's episode, that's one of the things I did watch was the Goldbergs on Wednesday, and Adam dresses up in multiple costumes throughout the episode, and one of them is Weird Al Yankovic. So, and by the way, Paul Rudd dressed up as Weird Al Yankovic like a week ago. Or something.
That's
like that.
great.
Yeah.
Management had sent me the best thing. The actor who plays Daredevil and the actor who plays Loki, they're in a play together. They went to a Halloween event dressed in each other's costumes, which made me really happy. And the fact that Daredevil's coming into the MCU now is even better. And
are you getting Disney Plus on the 12th?
I am getting Disney Plus for free.
Oh, because you bought the new iPhone?
No, we're just a member of Verizon. So I got the text message the other day.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's how they get you.
It's, it is because it's like $7, but, and we've talked about this, between the DCU app, the Disney Plus, Amazon, Hulu, and Netflix. I mean, that's all we watch anyways, really.
You basically have cable, but
right.
It's on demand.
Right. And again, there's so very few things we watch outside of that. So, we still do have cable. I don't know. It's just stupid. But I went into our Verizon thing and I'm like, how much do we pay for all these? And that's one of the things. You just go in, like my internet's $105, like cable's like $50. I'm like, well, the bill seems high, but it's not like I'm going to save much by getting rid of the interweb. But the app, those add-ons, I end up paying more for those than I do cable, I think.
Yeah, if only there was some way to consolidate all of those services into one and then pay.
Shut it.
That's called cable. By the way, speaking of which, I have to kind of talk to you about getting you hooked up on my HBO.
Did you watch The Watchmen? I guess the pilot
Who watches
episode.
The Watchmen?
I guess a lot of people.
I know. I don't. I'm not a big Watchmen guy. I don't know.
Have you seen the movie?
No.
No, and if you had said yes, I was going to say, have you seen it with me to explain scene by scene why awesome it is? So we can rectify that like anytime because it's on my Apple TV.
Yeah,
it's on my DCU app. It's, there's a number of. I have the Blu-ray.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
That's nice.
You know?
I see you, Homer. It's very nice.
I will say this. We took one of my little guy's friends to his first trick-or-treating, and he showed up late. So I was like, well, we just pillaged this neighborhood. Let's get in the car and drive. And half mile down the road from our house is some kind of one of those like Unitarian-like churches. And my sister's church does something like this. It's called Trunk or Treat. Dude, and I will post it. I always say I'm going to post some stuff. They have the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile there. and you know, I see all the cars like, you know what? Let's just bang this out. You know what I mean? We don't have to go to another neighborhood. We can walk for 5 minutes and get it all done. The guy, you know, with the glowing lights to kind of like direct, you know, the traffic coming in, swear to effing God, Ned Flanders. And he was really, really excited that we're here and this is great and this is blah, blah, blah. And really nice guy. And as soon as we're like, okay, he tells us where to park and roll up the window. I'm like, guys, who was that? And my boy's like, I don't know. It's like, okay, we don't know him. I had to explain to him. It's like, we don't know him, but who does he remind you of, you dumbasses? I'm like, we're at a church. And he's real super Oakley dokley happy that we're here. They're like, oh my God, he's Ned Flanders. Like he is Ned Flanders.
Yeah, your son came in with actually, speaking of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, he got a souvenir from the Wienermobile. Yep. It's like a little clear mini Wienermobile mold.
Yep.
Which I immediately looked at as like, oh, it's my first dildo. Like what the fuck?
It's a whistle.
Oh,
so yeah, it's a whistle. Nothing phallic about that at all. You know,
I gotta blow my wiener.
So, anyways, so wrapping it up. You know, boobies at the World Series.
Yep, boobs and boobies.
Yes, you know, Bloater's crying there. We both had great Thanksgivings. I'm sorry, great.
Oh boy. Wow, Christmas time is here.
Seriously, it really is. Great Halloween.
Beginning to look a lot like Halloween. I don't. One thing I did watch. Another thing I watched was the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror marathon.
Is the new one good?
The new one was okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of the 30, how many have they had?
30. This was their 30th.
Rank it.
It was
top 10, middle 10, bottom 10.
I haven't seen them all. I would probably say somewhere in the mid to bottom. I don't know.
Okay.
It wasn't like over the top. Like wow.
Is it not your Simpson?
It's somebody's Simpsons. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But watching the old ones, oh my God! Like watching the ones that I grew up with in my day. Yeah, the '90s oh God, they're just they're all good. They're all the first 10 seasons of The Simpsons are just magnifique.
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, nor would you. Nor would you. You would lose the argument. That's why you would not argue. So
I'd be like a I'd be like a double amputee. I'd have no leg to stand on.
Very good. Very good.
Took a while to get out.
Yeah, you know.
Had to get the marbles out
Right.
there. You're lying, George. You're lying.
That's it for us. Happy Halloween. Oh, wait, we're late. Happy Veterans Day. Yeah, we're early on that one. Shit, so there's nothing coming up. Oh, well. Have a day. Have a nice week. Set your clocks back. Oh, wait. It's too late. Zip it in and zip it out. Zippity-doo-dah. And don't forget...
But I didn't do all of the things that you wanted. I thought they'd get done, but there'll always be one that I missed. It's not a rebellion or indelicate act of defiance. Just get lost in the faces of friends on the fringe by the list. The sky much worse if me around. Just cross me off the list of things to do. It's all I guess so. Where it used to be hell, yeah. Now it's all baby. Where we used to be sure. We used to be fine. Doing nothing together. Now there's no time, and all the fantasies forced. I can't remember the last time you whispered I love. Didn't sound hollow. Didn't seem like a chore. Sky, it's always falling down. It's falling down around you. If it's worth